There's actually a woman sitting on the railroad tracks, looks at me and she's like, no, Jeb, he didn't have a cliff strike. He hit the bridge and he's dead.
Welcome to our channel. This is the ultimate hub for thrill seekers, where adrenaline meets adventure and limits are meant to be shattered. If you're all about pushing boundaries, chasing the rush, and living life on the edge, you're in the right place. Get ready for heart-pounding action, epic challenges, and the unfiltered world of extreme sports. Let's dive in and ride the thrill together. The calm before the storm. It was a crisp autumn morning in October 2003, and the Royal Gorge Bridge loomed high above the Colorado landscape. The bridge, an architectural marvel spanning 1,260 feet above the Arkansas River, was the perfect stage for what was to be a legendary display of human daring. The crowd gathered early, lining the observation points with cameras, binoculars, and nervous smiles. This wasn't just another event, it was the Go Fast Games, an adrenaline-fueled festival celebrating the extremes of human courage. Somewhere in the skies above, a small aircraft buzzed faintly against the backdrop of the canyon. Inside, two men prepared for what could only be described as madness. Among them was Dwayne Weston, a name spoken in awe by every extreme sports enthusiast. He wasn't just another jumper, he was the jumper, the one who had redefined what it meant to fly. No one on the ground knew what they were about to witness. No one could have anticipated the horror that would unfold. But up there, in the cold, thin air, Weston was calm, focused, determined, and then, with a signal unseen from below, the jump began.
Just before we jump out, he grabs me by my hand and he's like, Jeb, just remember, whatever happens, happens. I just kind of looked at him and was like, really? I'm like, that's a weird thing to say. Why would you even say that to me? That was bizarre.
There is no other sport in the world that kills more people at the rate that base jumping does. It's incredibly dangerous. You have to be willing to accept the consequences. I mean, when I'm on jumps, I've done jumps where I'm standing there, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna die right now. I mean, this jump is most likely going to kill me.
The legend of Dwayne Weston. Dwayne Weston's story didn't begin in the skies. Born in Sydney, Australia, he grew up a restless spirit, never content with the ordinary. While most young men followed the predictable path of school, work, and stability, Weston gravitated toward risk. He found his first taste of adventure in skydiving, the free fall, the rush of wind, and the feeling of defying gravity. It was intoxicating. But for Weston, skydiving wasn't enough. It was controlled, safe. He craved something raw, something that teetered on the edge of life and death. That's when he discovered base jumping. The acronym stands for Buildings, Antennas, Spans, and Earth, the structures from which jumpers hurl themselves, relying on sheer skill and minimal equipment to survive. Base jumping is often called the most dangerous sport in the world, and Weston fell in love with it instantly. Over the years, Weston earned a reputation not just as a skilled jumper but as a pioneer. His wingsuit flights, where jumpers glide through the air like human birds, were legendary. He wasn't just surviving, he was performing. Soaring through mountain valleys, skimming past cliffs, and threading impossible gaps, Weston pushed boundaries like no one else. By 2003, he had completed over 1,000 jumps and was crowned a world champion in base jumping. Yet, with every leap, his appetite for risk grew. He didn't just want to jump, he wanted to defy logic, and that's what brought him to the Go Fast Games at the Royal Gorge Bridge.
Dwayne Weston here on top of the castle, and you must roll the dice, throw yourself into the unknown, and see what happens, because that is truly living.
But when I met him, he was like this kind of almost computer nerd dude with kind of funny hair and like kind of a lispy, almost feminine voice. And I remember just looking at him going, "You're Dwayne?"
The fatal flight. The Royal Gorge Bridge was no ordinary jump site. Spanning one of the deepest canyons in North America, it was both breathtaking and treacherous. The plan was bold, a tandem stunt with one jumper flying under the bridge and another flying over it. Naturally, Weston chose the harder path. Standing on the edge of the aircraft, Weston adjusted his wingsuit, a sleek, black and blue outfit that transformed him into a human missile. He checked his trajectory one last time. The altitude was perfect, the wind was right, everything was ready. When the signal came, he stepped out into the void. From the ground, the crowd watched in awe as Weston sliced through the air like an arrow.
When you see him jumping, you're like, my God, like, is that possible?
His flight was graceful, precise. He seemed untouchable. But as he approached the bridge, something was off. At speeds of over 193 kilometers per hour, 120 miles per hour, Weston's margin for error was razor thin. A slight miscalculation, a gust of wind, or a moment's hesitation could mean disaster. And then it happened. In a split second, Weston's body slammed into the bridge with a sickening force. The impact was catastrophic. Severing his leg, and sending him tumbling into the canyon below. His parachute deployed automatically, creating a cruel illusion for the crowd. Many believed he might have survived, but the truth was undeniable. Weston was gone. The crowd fell silent, the realization sinking in like a weight. A legend had fallen.
And all of a sudden I look up and I see his canopy hit the cliff. And I'm like, oh wow, he just had a cliff strike. And then there was actually a woman sitting on the railroad tracks, looks at me and she's like, no, Jeb, he didn't have a cliff strike. He hit the bridge and he's dead.
The aftermath and legacy. The death of Dwayne Weston sent shockwaves through the world of extreme sports. For his peers, it was a grim reminder of the risks they faced every day. Base jumping, already notorious for its danger, became the subject of intense scrutiny. Could it ever be made safer? Should it even be allowed? In the years following Weston's death, the sport saw significant changes. Equipment manufacturers began innovating, creating wingsuits and parachutes with enhanced safety features. Training programs became more rigorous, emphasizing precision and preparation. But for many, Weston's death wasn't just a tragedy, it was a wake-up call. It forced them to confront the fine line between bravery and recklessness. Despite the heartbreak, Weston's legacy endured. Videos of his jumps, his interviews, and his fearless attitude continued to inspire a new generation of jumpers. His name became a symbol of what it meant to chase your dreams, no matter the cost.
And in base jumping, the consequence is fatal. You do a mistake, you're going to be dead. So you have to really understand what you're about to do.
Today, when base jumpers gather at the edge of a cliff, they often speak his name. They remember the man who flew higher, faster, and bolder than anyone else, and they carry his story with them, a reminder of both the beauty and the danger of living life on the edge. Dwayne Weston wasn't just a base jumper. He was an artist, a pioneer, and a legend. He lived his life with a singular purpose, to defy the impossible. His final jump, though tragic, was a testament to his spirit, a spirit that refused to settle for anything less than extraordinary. For those who knew him, Weston's story isn't just about how he died, it's about how he lived. So here's to Dwayne Weston, the man who dared to fly where others feared to fall. May his courage inspire us all to chase our dreams, no matter the risk. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride, thrill seekers. If you felt the adrenaline, make sure to smash that like button and hit subscribe so you never miss an epic moment. Join our crew and let's keep chasing the thrill together. Until next time, stay bold, stay fearless, and keep pushing those limits.